Hey there, we are talking the Esee Zancudo. This is a knife designed by the Randall Adventure / Esee chaps. I think they're still the same thing, but unlike the Esee fixed blades, it's made in Taiwan. The Esee fixed blades are all American and stuff. So this is Taiwanese made, apparently at the same factory that the Ontario's rat knives are made, which would make sense, because I think rat / Esee broke from Ontario and made their own things, but I'm sure they kept the same source for their designed knives rather than their made knives. I digress. Anyway, I reckon if you look at the Zancudo and its bigger brother, the Avispa, you see some pretty reasonable similarities between the Rat 1 and 2 design-wise. I would also probably speculate they all originate from the same sort of machine and batch of parts and stuff. This is good news though, not a bad thing, as the factory, which is Blue Ridge Knives, I think. I think that factory makes the best low-cost knives currently going right now. Maybe Real Steel, maybe as well. Anyway, the Zancudo is a little brother to the Avispa, which is like the Rat 1, so the Zancudo is like the Rat 2 to the Rat 1. It's in D2 steel, or still in AUS 8 if $7 is that important to you. With a 3-inch blade, it has a stainless steel frame lock with a steel-lined FRN handle on the show side, so it isn't just plastic. It has a 2-way positional clip for right hand, tip up or down carry. So here's the knife compared to some others you may be familiar with. So the Paramilitary 2, Swiss Army knife, the Ontario Rat 1, and the Spyderco Delica. So, as usual, with a folding knife review, I'm going to talk about the wins, the neutrals, and the fails of this knife. There are some of each. First off, the value here, this is the wins by the way, value here is super high. It's got D2 steel for 63-ish Australian dollars, bladesofoz.com, which pretty much makes it the best bang for buck knife that we can get here down under. I think so anyway. The prices appear just as competitive elsewhere as well. So the D2 steel just makes this the winner over the Ontario Rat 1, which is still, the Rat 2, which is still predominantly in AUS 8. And, you know, as my edge retention test showed, not to blow my own horn, but I did a reasonable test with AUS 8 versus D2. D2 held the edge for about twice as long as AUS 8 when cutting rope, and this would be that same D2, because I used 2 different rat knives. So the speed of the knife is good, snappy and satisfying like the Rats are as well. Flies out from a nice firm detent and locks up with authority. Good fun to flick out for sure. The handle I really like. Simple, ergonomic, and unlike the Rat 2, it's not limited to small, medium, and maybe borderline large hands. It sort of lacks that second curve that the Rat 2 has at the back of the knife, which really makes my hand kind of cramp on the handle. Must have that slightly too big a hand, just by a few millimeters, but it's enough. I love the blade shape and the grind. Simple, versatile drop point with full flat grind, about 2.5 millimeters stock. It's thin enough to slice, thick enough to do other work. Comes sharp as a razor from the factory as well. I like the pillar construction. Knives of these prices generally see some abuse at my house and occasional neglect, I must say. I like that I can just blast it out with WD-40 or compressed air, get most of the crap out without needing to take it down, which you can do also, because it's got just Torx bits holding everything in place, which is good. Neutrals. So to me, this is a bit of an ugly knife. Again, it's just one of those cases of ergonomics being ugly. Spyderco has this problem all the time. The belly on the handle, which is comfortable in my palm, looks just like that, a big belly thing. The blade is excellent blade, but it looks like it's out of place, like sprouts from the end of the handle kind of unevenly. It's just a bit odd looking. In my opinion, it's just not a great looking knife, and because my opinion doesn't affect the performance of the knife, this is just a neutral point, just something I felt like I need to get off my chest. On the plus sides, they have managed to make it closable without the exposed tang thing that I hate so much, so that's kind of good. So that's the neutral. The fails, so 2 main fails with this knife. So the first is the pocket clip. So it's a good clip, holding the knife onto your pants, absolutely. Keeps it fairly discreet and fairly low. No worries at all, but when it's moved from where you get it from the factory, which is tipped down, when you move to tip up, it sits right where I find my hand wanting to rest. Right in the center of my palm kind of thing. It's probably just a bit big. This is an EDC knife for making occasional cuts, so it's not as catastrophic as it would be on like a little folding whittling knife or something, but it almost makes me want to swap back to tip down and retrain my muscle memory for that. I probably won't though, because I don't mind if it's not super comfortable every time, because I'm getting it out for just cut the dog food open or whatever and then putting it straight back in my pocket. If I was using it for longer, then I probably would keep it tip down. The other is the ease of lock disengagement. This is the other like faily thing. I don't think they've given us enough like protrusion to be able to easily unlock the blade. You kind of need to wedge your thumb in the crack and push, rather than just like preferred simple nice side-on press that most others seem to require. So those are the only two real bad things I can pick, which leaves me with a pretty positive, really, view of this knife. In fact, overall, I think it's a great value user knife. It's a bit like a Frankenstein monster to look at, I think. It looks like it was made up of parts of other knives, and I think that's probably what goes on at that factory. They just kind of swap and change and see what works. But when you get it in hand, providing the clips tip down, it'll make sense. Right now, it's about the same price as the AOS 8 Rat 2, which, let's be serious here, it's also not a handsome knife with its weird long neck, and it's another sort of hodgepodge that works well. And although I know steel isn't everything, the AOS 8 definitely clinches it, especially with my larger hands not fitting the Rat 2 as easily as well. So all in all, I think this is the current winner of the Rat / Esee bunch made out of the Blue Ridge factory, and really it's up there with that E571 from Real Steel as probably the champion of the low cost, high quality knives. Comes with all sorts of different handle colours. This is kind of the more pooey OD green thing. Comes in some red, some black, and I think some white as well. I think I've even seen a blue one. Anyway, there's a few different ones getting around, so not bad. There's enough variety there to keep it interesting as well. So overall, it's a good one. It's worth $60. It's a great gift knife if you're getting someone their first knife. It's good. It's D2, so it might be harder for them to sharpen. So maybe if it is someone's true first knife, AOS 8 might be the way to go. But if you're a user just looking for a good knife to take to work that you might lose, 65, I mean maybe 70 once it's here after postage, that's a good deal and a really good knife. Thanks so much for watching, dudes. I'll see you in the next video.